It's just a t-shirt with this cute little frill, that makes it, I think, Zoom worthy.
It does.
Hi,
It
Lisa.
doesn't look
I
like a
haven't seen
t-shirt.
you forever. It's
Good
so great to
morning. How are you
see
guys?
you. So good.
Great.
So good. I love following all your information. So it's great to have you guys here. I'm going to say we're at the top of the hour and we have 30 some people that registered, so some of them will pop on late, but let's go ahead and get started, Jen, and get this recorded so we can get
Great.
rolling, because we don't want to, cut into your time of teaching us today. So for all of you ladies, you know me. My name is Colleen Biggs. I'm the founder of Lead Up for Women. We host these Teaching Tuesday webinars I think we should just call them workshops. They're workshops that we do every Tuesday where the member of Lead Up for Women comes forward and teaches their genius. And we used to do these once the first Tuesday of every month. Then we started doing them the second and fourth Tuesday of every month. Then we just said, let's just do them every Tuesday. And we're booked out, through the end of the year. So that just goes to show what a popular platform this is for all of our members to be able to come forward and have the spotlight just for them to be able to teach what it is that they do. And the beautiful part for us as consumers in Lead Up for Women is we get to learn from a different member every single week. We get free training, 4 hours a month. When you start categorizing that and really looking at that, that's great for us to put those tools in our toolbox. So, Jen, we want to thank you for being here today and talking to us about the healthy leader. How you eat is how you lead. This is so, so true coming from my background as a black belt and a personal trainer. How you eat is how you lead. And I am so excited to learn from Jen today. So Jen, I'm going to let you go ahead and take it away.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me, Colleen. I am super excited to be able to be here with you ladies. This is a topic that I am very passionate about, and I want to give you some great information today, but more importantly, I want to give you some things that you can walk away with and start doing immediately. Because if this is just another hour where you accumulate more information and don't do anything different in life, you're kind of in the same boat as when you walked in. So I'm a huge believer in practical, applicable things. And I want to make sure that you guys know that you can use the chat box, put any questions you have in there. I'm going to ask for participation, so please participate. The more you put into something, the more you get out of it, right? We all know this to be true. So really, really engage with me and with the material, and let's make sure that we can walk away in a better place than we started, and you guys have an action plan going forward so that you can lead at a higher level because you feel at a higher level. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you, and I want to share first off a quote. Now, how many of you guys does this resonate with? When you have your health, you have 1,000 dreams, and when you don't, you only have one. Right? This quote has so much meaning for me. It's actually a huge part of the reason why I got involved in nutrition almost 20 years ago. My mom has had multiple sclerosis my entire life, and she actually passed away about 6 years ago, but she was diagnosed at the age of 24. And by the time I was 4 years old, she had already been walking with a cane. And so she went through life and she was dealing with her MS. And then when I was 26, she was 49. She went through a series of relapses where she went from living on her own to being in a nursing home in 6 weeks. And she had been on every preventative medication to make sure that that very thing didn't happen. So for me, that was devastating. And I just remember standing in her living room and watching her sort through every possession she had. And I'd go, Mom, what do you want to do with this? Garage, storage, Goodwill, trash, or going to the nursing home with you. And she's like, but I want to take it, but we didn't have room. Right. And so just watching her lose her independence and having to sort through her entire life in an afternoon was awful. And in that moment, I made two decisions. Number one, I was going to find something that could help her, right? There had to be something out there. Obviously, the medications weren't working anymore, so something had to help her. And number two, I was going to do whatever I could to never end up in that situation. My mom's mom had MS as well, and so it ran through the family. My aunt is dealing with it now. So I wanted to make sure that I was as healthy as possible, so I never had to go there. But when I was 26, I was running a market, the Minneapolis market for Miller Brewing Company. So I was in it, I was leading, I was, doing my thing, and I was living on caffeine and fast food and sugar and, soda and stuff like that. But I didn't really know what I didn't know, right? And for me, it was really a hard left when I got to a place where I was looking for what I could be able to do to help my mom. Because it was so out of my realm of what I had experienced in the past. And so I was looking for something to help her and making sure that I never went in the same place. So I started looking at alternative medicine, and I ended up at a conference where there was a pharmacist who was talking about the healing benefits of superfoods, which I thought was a little ironic in the first place, that he's not talking about drugs. Well, during his talk, he's talking about his wife who had MS for 26 years. Same amount of time as my mom. And the difference was that I got to see her walking across a ballroom, holding his arm for stability, but had no other issues. And I was floored. And I got a chance to meet her afterwards. And I walked up to her and I said, you know what? Hi, my name's Jen. My mom has MS too, blah, blah, blah. I said, what medications are you on? Because your results are so different than my mom's. And she goes, oh, I'm not taking any medications. My husband didn't believe in them. Your husband, the pharmacist, didn't believe in the medications? She goes, no, the side effects were too much and the population studies were too small and they were too short. So I just built my body up with diet, supplements, and exercise. And I started thinking about the fact that those are three things my mom never did, right? I mean, we had balanced meals, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't necessarily nutritionally dense. She did the best as she could, but it was like a can of green beans, a can of cream corn, instant potatoes, and Salisbury steak out of the freezer, right? They were balanced. They just weren't necessarily nutritionally dense. She took supplements for like 6 months when I was in 6th grade and said, they're too expensive. I'm not doing them. They don't work. And then she never really exercised. And other than like doing a little bit of physical therapy here and there. And so it just got me thinking, like, what if my mom had done what Dr. Suster's wife had done? Would her results have been different? So I really dug into nutrition. And the more that I researched, the more I saw people reversing MS and heart disease and cancer and diabetes and Alzheimer's and fibromyalgia, and, all these diseases that I thought were a life sentence. Once you got that diagnosis, it's like, here's your lot in life, just deal with it. And so that's what prompted me to go back and get a certification in nutrition. And for the last 20 years, I've been helping women to be able to figure out what they need to be eating and then how to plan and implement it so they can put healthy eating on autopilot, right? And so today I really want to share with you, what are those foundational principles? How do you get to a place where you are thriving instead of just surviving? Because I know when I was in my 20s, I was waiting for my next fix, whether that was sugar or caffeine or, some kind of meal, some kind of stimulant to get through the day. And I feel better today at 47 than I did it in my 20s. So I want to be able to share the foundation with you so that you can be able to create that same kind of health and have the vibrancy and have the energy to not only run your business and build your career, but really so that you can thrive in all areas of your life. And you've got the energy to live the life that you love versus just the one that you can kind of limp your way through and manage, right? Okay. So like I said, if you guys have questions as I'm going through this, please make sure you put them in the chat box. I'm trying to figure out how to get, there we go. Okay. So how do you guys feel? What's put in the chat, left or right? Do you feel like the woman that is like, oh my God, I'm limping my way through life? Or do you feel like you are just in this place where you are thriving and vibrant and feeling amazing? I love that there are so many of you that feel like you're on the right. That's fantastic, right? I definitely was on the left because I was living on pretty much nothing when it came to nutrition and water and things like that, right? I used to used to be the woman on the left in corporate. Right now I'm on the right. Awesome. Right and left, right? And so sometimes we feel like we can be on the left, and then many of us now are learning how to take care of ourselves so we can live on the right and really thrive there. So I love the fact, right, because I changed my lifestyle. That's awesome. And sometimes we feel like we're mostly on the right, and then we feel sometimes on the left when we're too stressed out. We have too much on our plate, where our lifestyle, we can't quite keep up with everything else we have to do. So we really need to focus in on what we put in our bodies and how we treat ourselves, because that's the fuel for life, right? Okay, because would you agree that the way that you feel affects everything? If you do, put yes in the chat box. Right? The way you feel affects everything. It affects your relationships. It affects your career. It affects your sales calls. It affects your meetings. It affects your leadership in your team. It affects the way that you interact with your kids. It determines how much your significant other, your spouse, gets of you, whether they get the best of you or the last of you. Right? So the better we take care of ourselves, the more we thrive. And I love that you guys agree with that, right? Because it really is like, how do we get to this place where we are thriving all day, every day? And, 74% of all disease starts with nutritional deficiencies. So if we're not fueling our body properly, we're creating a breeding ground for disease. Okay. And so it really is a matter of how do we get to this place of feeling amazing and staying there. Okay. Now I will say that much of our health is intentional. If we are running our business or leading our team based on emotions, how are we doing? Anybody? Is it working for us or not working for us? If we are leading and or running a business based on our emotions, we fall, victim to the shiny object syndrome, right? We may get distracted. We get less productivity done because we're focused on all kinds of different things, or we're not doing something because we don't feel like it today. I don't want to do a Facebook Live today. I don't really want to get out of bed and talk with clients today. I will, but I have to, right? So it's really a matter of where we can be intentional, we can create. If we're emotional, we're reacting. Okay. Same thing with our food. When we are intentional, this is where we can thrive, because we're going to, if we know better, we can do better, right? And if we're really intentional about what we put in our mouth, we are naturally going to have more energy, because if we're intentional, we're probably going to choose foods that are our best fuel. If we're running on emotions or default, that's where the stuff on the right kind of creeps in. Would you agree? Right? That's where it's like, oh, I had a bad day. I deserve some chocolate today. I was so good today that I get to be able to have a glass of wine and a piece of chocolate. Or like, I was so stressed out yesterday, I just needed that donut. It just is, right? The right side isn't very appealing to me, but it's what my husband eats. Oh, I hear that one a lot, right? Oops. Right. So it really is like, that default, but many of us have default programming, right? Many of us are running based on what we grew up as kids. So Clean Plate Club, I don't know about you guys, but every Friday night we did pizza and soda. It was the only day of the week that we got soda, but it was like soda and pizza go together. So we create some of these relationships where we naturally just connect. And so if we're running on default, if we're exhausted, if we're overworked, the default sneaks in. Right? We may not want it to, it may not be our intentional choice, but if we just are running on default, that's the kind of stuff that happens, right? So it's being very intentional about what we're choosing to do and what we're choosing to create. A very simple rule is go for more crunch and eat foods that you can grow, right? It's the basic foundational things. I think it's Furman that says, eat plants, not too much, and never get full. Right? So it's those basic, simple principles of like not eating a ton of food because we don't want to get stuffed, but it's the crunch is one of those things where if you're stressed out, sometimes we crave the crunch because it literally breaks up the physical tension in our body because we're crunching down on something. So it's an easy, and like if you're crunching on carrots or peppers or radishes or something like that, it's pretty tough to overeat on produce. Would you agree? Now, I'm not saying it's not impossible, but it's rare, right? So now who can tell me how many vegetables we should shoot for on a daily basis? Just put it in the chat box. How many vegetables do you think we should eat on a daily basis? Dr. Melissa says 8. Anybody else have a guess? 5 to 6 servings? 5. As many as possible. I like that answer. Right. And so it really is. And I will say that it's individualized based on the individual, based on the person's individual's body's needs. But ideally, 2 to 3 servings per meal. So we're talking 6 to 9 servings of vegetables per day. Now, a lot of my clients will eat 2 to 3 cups or 1 to 3 cups per meal. So they're going, double portions of those vegetables, eating a salad that has 3 or 4 cups of greens in it, and then adding in some broccoli and some cucumbers and some cauliflower and some peppers and things like that. So it really bulks up the amount of vegetables. Why? Because fiber is filling, right? Vegetables have a ton of fiber with a low glycemic index, a low sugar index. They have a ton of flavor. The more rainbow, the more your plate looks like a rainbow, the more nutrients you're taking in as well. Okay. So yeah, smoothies are great because you can absolutely add a ton of vegetables into your smoothie without even tasting it, right? Broccoli, baby kale, spinach, carrots, all of those are great to be able to add in any of the greens, really. If you're going to do greens, here's a hint. Pull the spine off. That's where the bitter part is. So just do the leaf part. Fruits and vegetables in capsules. The challenge with that, so I love Juice Plus for what it stands for, and the fact that most people, like literally less than 9% of the population has a serving of dark leafy greens on a daily basis. Less than 9%. The government says that our 2 highest consumed vegetables are tomatoes and potatoes. Now, I don't know about you, but I learned that potatoes are tubers and tomatoes are a fruit. So our government is telling us the 2 most popular vegetables, they're not even vegetables in the first place, but it's French fries, potato chips, and pasta sauce, spaghetti sauce, things like that. So I love the nutrients that fruits and vegetables and capsules can create, but we're not getting the fiber and we're not getting some of the other benefits of vegetables. So for many people, if you're not going to add a single vegetable into your diet, do fruits and vegetables and capsules. Absolutely. Ideally, do that in addition to the vegetables that you're going to chew because you're getting more nutrients, you're getting more fiber and things like that. I actually have a client who I worked with last year that had an aversion to vegetables. Like her grandmother had forced her to sit at the table and eat all of her vegetables to the point where she threw up. And so that happened at 10 years old. She's 42. Has not touched a vegetable at all outside of carrots about once every quarter, if that, since she was 10. So part of the work that we did was really not only helping her to eat well, but it's also to be able to reverse that aversion. One of the things I'm trained in is called LIFT, and LIFT looks at the self-limiting beliefs that hold us back from creating the life that we love. And so over the course of time, between working with LIFT and with the curiosity method with like, I wonder if there is a vegetable that I might enjoy. By the time our 3 months was done, she was craving vegetables. She actually sent me a text. She's like, I'm on my way to the grocery store to get all of the ingredients for a salad. I'm going to get da, 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 da. And she listed like 7 different things she's going to put in her salad. Coming from a woman who was vegetable averse for decades was a massive accomplishment. Not to mention she dropped 20 pounds during the program too. Right, so it's really looking at how do we get the good stuff in and how do we work around our old programming and our old beliefs around food. Things like the Clean Plate Club or I can't waste any food, that kind of stuff, right? So go for more crunch, go for more foods that you can grow because that's where the nutrient density is, okay? I love that you add the fruits and vegetables and capsules to the veggies you're already eating. That's great. So here's another big key. Remember I said it depends on how many vegetables you need based on your body. We all have our individual metabolic design. This is how much protein, fiber, and fat that your body needs specifically for you to thrive. If we're not eating for our unique needs, our metabolism will slow down, our energy is wonky, we can have massive cravings, our mood swings kick into play, right? Because our blood sugar is constantly going up and down. We're dealing with imbalances and instability. So when we eat for our body's unique needs, our metabolic design, we have the ability to stabilize and really rise so we can thrive. I have a gal that when she first came to me, she was falling asleep on the couch at 7 o'clock at night. She was pushing her girls' activities off on her husband. She was cranky at work. Every day at 10 o'clock, she'd go next door to the gas station from the bank and get a candy bar and a Diet Coke just to be able to make it through the day. And we did her metabolic design. She shifted the way that she was eating so it was in alignment with what her body needed specifically. And in 2 weeks, she dropped 9 pounds. She was forcing herself to go to bed at 11 o'clock at night. She gave up the candy bar and Diet Coke completely. She was volunteering to take her girls to the activities, and her coworkers were commenting on how happy she was, right? And that's just by shifting the way that she ate so that it was in alignment with what her body needs, right? The metabolic design is really looking at, like I said, how much protein, fiber, and fat you need, but then which of those foods are your specific best foods for you out of those categories, okay? So it's really important that it's not about, you know, should I eat keto or should I eat vegetarian or should I eat paleo or should I do low carb, high carb? The diets and the fads that are out there, they work for some, but not for others because they don't look at the bioindividuality. So if you walk away with from today, knowing one thing is that your body has specific needs. Your body has specific foods that are its best fuel and its worst fuel, the ones that are going to slow you down and sabotage you every time you try and eat and change the way you're eating, okay? You are your best detective, okay? So I want you to write this down, okay? These are the things that I want you to pay attention to. It's good that you track what you eat. It is, right? But instead of tracking the calories, fat, and protein, I want you to write down what you ate, and then an hour to 2 hours afterwards, write down how you felt, okay? And write these categories down. Look at your moods, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, what are your moods? 0 is like mood, like nobody wants to be around you, or you don't want to be around anybody else. 10 is like a kid on Christmas morning, right? Like you are ready for the day. Think about first day of vacation, right? Think about your energy levels. Right, 0 is the worst it can be. 10 is the best it can be. Your digestion. Do you have any gas? Do you have any bloating? Do you have any indigestion, diarrhea, constipation, any of those things? You know, what's your mental clarity like? Sometimes we can eat something that's not our best fuel and we'll just go into a brain fog. You know, your energy levels, like if you eat lunch and then you need a nap 2 hours later, probably something needs to shift within your lunch. So you know your body and the way that you react to certain foods, that will help you to really dial in your nutrition, right? Your metabolic design, that's an assessment that we do. It's a 64-question assessment. It looks at physical characteristics as well as your body's reactions to certain foods, but it really helps to dial it in. But then to take it to the next level, we can really be able to look specifically at food combinations and look at patterns across time, because your body talks to you every single day. Most of us, we kind of ignore it until it gets big enough that it really impacts the quality of our life. So the more that you listen to your body, you'll start to really learn what works and what doesn't for you, okay? How many of you guys track your food right now? If you do, just put yes in the chat box. Like just track whatever you eat. If you do calories, or if you do MyFitnessPal, or if you look at stuff like this where you're looking at how you feel. Good. It's good to be aware, right? For anybody that doesn't have an accountability buddy, journaling and tracking your food is one of the best because you're really aware of what's going on. MyFitnessPal, tracking food sensitivities, food, mood, and poop journaling. I love it, right? So we're really looking at, you know, being aware of what goes into our mouth, okay? For me, I look at patterns. When I'm working with somebody, we look at patterns because many of us focus on like what I did today, right? That's how the glass of wine comes in the evening. I was so good today. I can just have one, right? Or little things like that. Or we look at where I look at the course of a week or a month, and we look at patterns about what food combinations are working, what aren't. I have a client that came to me and he goes, I hope you can help me. I get food poisoning 3 to 4 times a week. I was like, time out, where are you eating, first of all? And he goes, well, you know, I mean, I go to Golden Corral, which is like a buffet place, and the Outback, and, you know, occasionally Long John Silver's. I'm like, okay, we need to be able to increase the quality of what you're eating. But secondly, he was sensitive to gluten, to dairy, and to junk oils like canola oil and soybean oil, which is what most restaurants use. So by shifting where he was eating and what he was eating, amazingly, his food poisoning never happened again after about the first 2 weeks. So it's really amazing when we dial into what we need. It's really it gives us the best information, and it helps us to put it on autopilot, right? Like if what you're eating makes you feel good, then eat more of that, like physically feel good. If it makes you feel like crap and you need a nap, or you have facial breakouts, or you have digestive issues, or you're tired, or whatever, don't eat that. It doesn't make you feel good. But many times we go again on the default, and we're looking at what's going to make me feel good in this moment. So really get into what makes your body feel its best. And here's the other thing to remember, ladies. Everything is permissible. Everything is permissible. Write this down. Everything is permissible. There is no food that is off the market or off the table. There's no food that you can't have, you shouldn't eat, you're not allowed to eat, or anything else, right? Everything is permissible. Here's the second part. Not everything is beneficial. So you can eat the half gallon of ice cream, you will pay a price for that, right? Digestively, inflammation-wise, waistline-wise. Can you do it? Yes. Can you do it once and get away with it? Probably. If you did it every day, what would happen? Right? Put in the chat box. What do you think would happen if you ate a half gallon of ice cream every day? What would happen to your body? What would happen to your digestion? What would happen to your waistline or your mental clarity? Right? It is things like that where that's one of the few occasions where I will agree with calories in over calories out. Right? If you're eating junk, yes, you need to limit the calories. If you're eating nourishing foods, I'm not worried about the calories, because you will fill up before you overdo it on calories. I mean, if you're eating 9 servings of vegetables a day, chances are you're not going to be eating a half gallon of ice cream, because you're going to be satisfied and full. Okay. So bye-bye healthy gut. Yes. Lethargic, headaches, bloated, inflamed, gain weight, diabetes. That's a good one. Bloat, inflammation, and blah, right? There is nothing good when we overdo it consistently. Here's the thing. 1 bite of gluten can cause inflammation for up to 6 months for certain people. So it's really looking at, again, what's your best fuel compared to like, oh, eat 7 servings of whole grain is what the government still says, right? The way that we process our foods today, I could spend 3 days talking about that alone. But just know that you've got to listen to what your body says and what your body is telling you, because that's the root of long-term disease. Okay, so really dial in and listen to what your body's telling you. Okay, never be hungry, never be full, right? This is super simple to say, but when we are in those situations where we are busy and we're working and we're in at 110%, it's really easy to get distracted. Oh, I forgot to eat today. Oh my gosh, it's 3 o'clock. And then all of a sudden the chips and guacamole come out, and then dinner is being made, and then it's, snacks, and we're still hungry and we can't get ahead of our hunger, right? And never be full, because our body needs about 10% of the room in our gut just to be able to digest our food. We never want to feel that Thanksgiving full feeling, right? And this is kind of like, I mean, if you think about your business too, you never want to be starving and you never want to be full. Right? If you're starving, you're like, I need a client, I need some business. And if you're full, you don't have room to be able to do marketing, and then you end up on the upswing and downswing and so on and so forth. Right? So much of it is really getting to this place where we're kind of in this zone of just feeling satisfied and really, really thriving versus feast or famine. Right? Both business and food and life in general, right? If you've got 80 things on your plate and then you're like, oh yeah, I can volunteer for that committee, no problem. Maybe you've got too much stuff, right? So it really is finding the zone in all things in life, but how you feel affects everything. If you're nourishing your body, you can absolutely take on more than somebody who is eating like I was in my 20s and living on sugar and caffeine and fast food. Right? So it really is this foundation of never hungry, never full. So think about a gas gauge. When we're at empty, that's like that feeling of like, I'm gonna eat my own arm. Like I'm starving right now. Anything sounds good. Don't ever get to that place, right? Even if you're going to a restaurant, have a small handful of nuts, have a big glass of lemon water, because it'll take the edge off the hunger. then you can peruse the menu versus eating the menu, right? Because rarely do we need to have an appetizer and dinner and dessert and have that all in a half an hour when we're already feeling a little bit satisfied, right? And then stop eating when you're about 3/4 full. Most restaurant meals are 2 to 3 sizes, or 2 to 3 portions on one plate. When you go to eat, right, use a small plate. Use a dinner size or a salad size plate, because when you put protein, a couple veggies, and a little bit of fat on that plate, you'll be amazed because your brain goes, wow, that's a lot of food. But if you put that much on a big plate, your brain goes, oh, that doesn't look very satisfying. So little tiny things like that can be able to give us a huge leg up on making better choices and dialing in our portions. Okay. When you stop eating, remember, leave at least about 10% of space in your gut so that you can be able to digest that, right? So eat till you're satisfied versus full. Okay. Just a quick little tip. If your nose starts running or you burp, you are done. Your body talks to you all the time. Most of us don't pay attention. So if your nose starts, not like you have a cold, but just a little moisture in your nose, or if you burp, that's your body telling you, hey, I'm good, I've had enough. Gives you a little tiny cue that you can just clue into so you can be able to keep going. Okay. Are there, I'm curious, are there any cues that you guys have when you know that it's time to stop before you get to that place where you're too full? Are there any little things that you do, or kind of things that you pay attention to that gives you that like slow down and pause? You're welcome, Angie. I'm glad you found that helpful. So if you guys have some of those, I would love to have you share those in the chat, because I think it's those little pieces that we're like, oh, that little tidbit, that little tidbit. Yeah, Annie, do you have something? Okay, so chew thoroughly, absolutely. Heavy breathing or need to take a deep breath, yeah, that's a good sign that we're inhaling too much, right? If we're not breathing throughout the meal, we definitely need to slow it down, okay? Like eating spicy foods, does that mean I'm full? Well, maybe that's a little bit different. So if you're eating spicy foods, your nose is naturally going to run a little bit more. But maybe then at that point, you're looking for the little burp, right? So it's usually one or the other, but if you've already got stuff kicking in your nose, then look for the little burp. But it's like that feeling of like, I'm just satisfied, right? So eating slowly enough to be able to check into that is really important too, okay? Okay, so become a one drink woman, right? Water, how much water do you think we need on a daily basis? If you had to guess. Go ahead and put it in the chat box. How much water do you think we need every day? Half your body weight in ounces, 8 glasses, half your body weight, half your body weight. Good, the word's getting around. It's actually half your body weight in ounces. I have one caveat to that. And that is that if you are drinking caffeine or alcohol or soda, you get to have 2 more glasses of water for every one of those. Okay, because you've got to compensate for the diuretic effect of the caffeine, and you want to flush out the toxins from the alcohol and the soda and things like that. Okay, so coffee, even caffeinated tea, alcohol, sodas, anything that's not everything that is not water doesn't need to be compensated for, but you've got to make sure you're getting half your body weight in clean, pure water. Right? Anytime you add something to your water, it has to go through your digestive system versus directly into your cells. Okay, so think about a lot of the stuff that's in our water. We want to make sure we're not absorbing a lot of that. So make sure you have a good water filter. But adding some water, adding some fruit into your water will give you a lot more zest and more flavor in that. If you're like, I just can't drink another glass of water, then add in a flavor enhancer versus adding something directly into your water. Okay. All right. So how many of you guys get burnt out? Have you guys ever said, oh, I'm so tired of eating the same thing? Anybody? I eat the same thing all the time. I just get bored. And sometimes we get bored in our life in general. And I will tell you that when we're in the zone, we're in this peace of mind, this Zen state, right? When we're thriving, we are really in a good place mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Okay, let me say that again. When we're in the zone and thriving, we have balance mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Okay, if we are missing, if we have a gap mentally, emotionally, or spiritually, guess what most of us turn to? Something physical, whether that's sugar or food in general, junk food, whatever. It can be healthy food. It can be alcohol. It can be drugs. It can be Netflix. It can be overworking. It can be over exercising. It can be oversleeping. But we turn, as humans and as Americans especially, we turn to something physical because we do something to try and fix it, versus going to what's underlying, what's under the surface, what's the root cause of what we're actually experiencing or what the challenge is. Okay. So if we're feeling burnout, I work with a lot of women that are in their 40s and 50s that are like, kids are grown. I've got this massive gap in my life, which used to be filled with my kids and all the responsibilities and all the activities and all the stuff and all the work and all the, right? And now they've got this void. And so they have in the past turned to food, and now they're trying to figure out how to reverse that and get back into a place where food isn't their only joy and food isn't the thing that's filling that gap. Okay. Does adding flavors to your water mean you need to drink more water, or just whether it's, so if you're adding flavors to your water, like if you're doing fruit and you're just infusing it, like if you throw a lemon slice in there, that's fine. You don't need to drink more water for that. But if you're adding like Mio or, you know, some of the Crystal Light, that kind of thing, there's chemicals in that. So now you got to flush that out. So for those types of things, I would increase your water just to be able to try and flush that out. But by doing things that are naturally infusing flavor, like, I mean, a couple apple slices and a cinnamon stick gives it a really nice apple cinnamon flavor, right? Cucumber and lemon and mint is another great combination to just add more flavor to it. So it just, Mio is not good for you. Mio has a lot of chemicals in it. There's other ones that are stevia based, but truly, I mean, the best thing you can do is just be able to infuse your food, it's easy for me to say, infuse your water with fruit or vegetables or herbs to be able to add more flavor in it that way, to be able to change it up. Okay. Mio and seltzer, your husband replaced Mio and seltzer. So it's better. Yes, it's absolutely better. But there are, there's one that's called Stir, which is made with stevia, kind of like a Mio. That would be a better option because I think Mio has aspartame in it. And then seltzer's better. You can also do like Zevia. Zevia is stevia flavored soda. It's still not ideal, but it's better than regular soda. But they have like a Dr. Pepper flavor-ish type thing. But see if you can even get them to like Perrier with lemon or lime or something like that, because that's just a mineral water versus a seltzer that has natural flavors added to it. And natural flavors aren't really natural. Like they started out natural, and then they took them to a lab, into a manufacturing plant like Wild Flavors in Kentucky, and they extract the flavors from the natural and with alcohol and then put it in your food. So natural flavors aren't actually really natural. They've still been processed. So, but doing something like Perrier with an orange slice, a lemon slice, or a lime slice is a great way to be able to, again, infuse flavor into it. Grapefruit's great for the summertime too. It's things like that where you can be able to just add a little more flavor in without having the chemicals added to it. Okay. But creativity within your food and within your life really allows us to thrive, right? It allows us to be able to get to that place where it's just, we're in the flow, right? Life feels easy, it's fun, it's refreshing, we're engaged, it's all of those good things, right? So the same thing with our food, right? If you go back up to the salad, remember the salad and the burger? Many people are drawn to the burger because it's what they've known, it's all the food, it's all of the comfort stuff. But what really helps us to thrive is the salad and the variety. And you can be able to, you can make a salad 1,000 different ways with different toppings, different greens, different vegetables, different dressings, different add-ons, different fats. There's so many different things that we can do. It takes just a little bit of creativity. Okay. I just looked it up. Crystal Light has aspartame, and Mio includes Splenda. So Splenda is 3 molecules of chlorine and 1 molecule of sugar, right? Good stuff. So it's one of those things where, is it better than aspartame? Yeah, there's not as many detrimental effects of it. Still not something I really want to consume on a consistent basis. So really, again, like stevia is your best sweetener for adding flavor into stuff. There's actually a Valencia orange flavored stevia that you could pop right into, like to put a few drops of that right into a Perrier, and that would give it sweetness and the orange flavor. So that might be a better option than even doing something like the seltzers and stuff like that. Okay. So is an olive oil and apple cider vinegar better than commercial salad? Heck yes. Better than commercial salad dressings, apple cider vinegar and apple cider vinegar and olive oil is absolutely the best salad dressing you can get, because there's probiotics, there's pH balancers in apple cider vinegar and olive oil, a good quality olive oil. Not all of them are created equal. You want to make sure you're looking for first cold pressed, meaning they squeezed it out versus extracted it with chemicals or heat. That the olive oil is a great polyphenol. It's a great healthy fat. And there's a lot of little boutiques that have flavored balsamics and flavored olive oils. Like the one that we have is called the Spicy Olive, and it is amazing. Like I've got garlic, I've got mushroom and sage, I have Italian herb, and they've got balsamic. So I love the mushroom and sage with like the mission fig balsamic. And just a little drizzle of that, I can get my 5-year-old to eat salad. Like, woohoo! Right? So it's amazing where you can be able to find foods that are really natural and nourishing. And when you start combining them in unique ways, you find a lot more satisfaction and a lot more fun at the same time. Okay. So we're talking about energy, right? How many of you guys, I want you to look at this page, look at this picture, and how many of these do you partake in on a daily or a regular basis, right? So we've got coffee or caffeine, whether that's monsters or sodas or coffee or black tea. We've got clutter. We have negative relationships or negativity that's in our life. It can be coworkers, friends, kids, spouses, right? Maybe a little bit of vino, or for some people, it might be a little vodka or beer or bourbon or whatnot. I live in Cincinnati, and in Cincinnati, we are right by Kentucky. So everybody here drinks bourbon. And I'm like, oh, not for me, but it is all the rage, at least here in Cincinnati. I don't know if it's across the country, but here it is. How about sweets or sugar or, junk food? And that junk food is fried food, it's processed food, it's packaged foods. So I was just kind of total up how many of these you partake in, and just put it in the chat box, right? It could be once a month, it could be once a week, it could be once a day. But just put in the chat box how many of these you do on a frequent basis, or at least somewhat regular basis. Daily, at least the cold brew coffee once a day, okay? And coffee is one of those things where it's like, there's so many studies that are like, coffee is amazing for you. It decreases colon cancer, blah, 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 blah. And the thing about coffee is you got to look at acidity, caffeine, which is a diuretic, and mold, and how much they're sprayed. Okay, so some things aren't bad, right? So a decaf cup of coffee doesn't have the caffeine in it, and you can be able to look at how it's processed and how often you partake in it. Okay, no gluten, no dairy, no sweets, no coffee, wine, or happy hour occasionally. Awesome. Once a month chocolate, good. So most of you guys don't partake in these on a regular basis, which is awesome, right? It's important to be aware of them, because these are the things that will really rob your energy. So look at the people around you and see how many of them also are dealing with this. So that the one thing I love about the work that I do is the ripple effect, right? When you start making changes, then other people around you start making changes too, because they see the benefits and they see how much better you're feeling. They're a little more motivated to kick in too. So the things that we want to look at that really give us energy, these are 5 energy boosters. Like if you are crashing in the middle of the afternoon, grab one of these, right? Green tea has a ton of polyphenols in it. Oranges are one of those foods that wake you up, right? They have a ton of vitamin C in them. There's not a ton of sugar in them. There is sugar, but it's not as much. And you can be able to really savor this, right? One of the biggest things, even with looking at indulgent things like some of the junk food and the sugar and things like that, or the wine, it's not all or nothing, but it's all or something, right? Write this down. It's not all or nothing. It's all or something. Because even if you feel like you want to go out and have a burger, great. If that's really what you're craving, then have the burger, skip the bun, and have a salad or a side of broccoli with it. Versus having the cheeseburger with all the stuff on it and the side of fries and maybe dessert afterwards, right? Or a couple of beers during it. So you can still be able to eat the things that you like, and make sure that you're being intentional about it. And how do you make it healthier? What else can you eat with that that's going to increase the nourishment so that you can be able to, again, get to a place where you're thriving? It's not all or nothing, it's all or something. Because if that's your focus, is how much nourishment can I get in a meal, you're naturally going to thrive, right? If you're going, well, I gotta eat something. Jen told me I have to eat at least one vegetable a day. You're probably not going to be thriving as much as if that's a priority for you, right? So these are great energy boosters. Middle of the day, you're like, I'm just dragging a little bit today. Maybe you didn't sleep well the night before. You just need a little energy boost. These are great things that you can do that will naturally boost your energy levels, right? Leafy greens, they're light, they're airy, and the energy that those greens bring with them will naturally raise yours, right? Water, one of the number one reasons for afternoon fatigue is dehydration. Water is essential for every single process in our body, our brain, our joints, our digestion, our elimination, detoxification, brain power, you name it, right? 2% dehydration equals brain fog, okay? Oranges, like I said, they're great. They just have that zest. Even if you're doing an essential oil that is that like wild orange or tangerine, just smelling that can be a natural energy booster. Green tea has a ton of health benefits to it, in addition to the caffeine that's in there. It's a lot less than a cup of coffee or a cup of black tea, but it gives you a nice energy boost. And then apples, again, it's just got this nice zest to it. There's a ton of nutrients in there. There's a little bit of sugar, but it's balanced with fiber, so it's not going to skyrocket your blood sugar levels. Okay. What else do you guys do that that increase your energy levels? Like if you just need a little boost, what else do you do? Go ahead and put in the chat box if you guys have stuff that you kind of turn to in the middle of the day, or if you just need a little energy boost. Nuts. Yeah. Especially if you feel like your blood sugar is dropping, nuts can be a great little boost. Mixture of berries. Yeah. I love how healthy you guys are. I will tell you, most of the groups I talk to aren't as healthy and health conscious as you guys. So I love that. Okay, so here's some keys, right? So we talked about what to eat. Now we're talking about how you eat. These are the same things as how you run your business too, or how you show up at work, okay? I like to walk to gain more energy. Yeah, walking is amazing, a little sunshine, fresh air, it's good. So it's not what you eat, but it's also how you eat it, right? Eating mindfully. Mindfully is engaging your senses. If you are feeling stressed out, you are in your head and you are bombarded by all the emotional triggers. Take some deep breaths, close your eyes, and focus on what each one of your senses are picking up. You'll go back in your body, you'll be more grounded, and you can be able to focus and you can be able to make better decisions. Okay, eating at peace, right? So eating mindfully is like looking at it, smelling it, tasting it, touching it, listening to yourself, chewing it. If you want to have fun with some mindfulness, how many of you guys like chocolate? Just show me a raise of hands. A few of you? Okay. So if you like chocolate, take one chocolate chip, put it on your tongue, and let it dissolve. You can eat as many chocolate chips as you want, but what I have found over the last number of years of doing this is most people only need one because it saturates your mouth, because you're focused on the taste, the silkiness, the creaminess, all of those things are engaging your senses, okay? Like Dr. Zach Bush's 4-minute workout, love it. I literally eat dark chocolate once a month, but it's good when you eat it, right? My opinion on monk fruit or erythritol. Monk fruit, as long as it's pure, is good. And erythritol, for most people, they tolerate it well. Both of those are low sugar options for sweeteners. I use erythritol in baking because it adds sweetness, but it doesn't add the same amount of sugar impact. For some people, though, they don't tolerate the erythritol and xylitol well. There's sugar alcohol. So for some people, they get gas, they get a little digestive issues. Some people get a little diarrhea. So test it to see if it works for you. If it does, I think either one is a fine option to be able to add sweetness to foods. Okay. Eating with gratitude is another way to be able to pull your energy in, right? So thank you for the food I'm about to eat. Let it nourish my body. There's research that shows that if you say something like that and just express a little gratitude about what you're eating and the nutrients that you're going to get from it, you literally have the ability to increase the amount of nutrients you get out of that food. They did this study with junk food, and they found that people that used gratitude before they ate junk food got more nutrients out of it than people that didn't. So it's amazing what a little gratitude does. And gratitude within our life, within our relationships, within our business, shifts the trajectory, right? Shame is the lowest energy, the lowest vibration of all of the emotions. Gratitude is the highest. So when we show up in gratitude every single day, we're literally lifting and drawing more positive to us every single day. Okay. And last but not least, somebody earlier said chew, right? How many times should you chew one bite of food? Put it in the chat box. How many times do you think you should chew one bite of food? So it says, wow, all this information is so good. We need to bless our food and have gratitude for the food we have to eat. Yeah, absolutely. 10, 100, 15. The answer is actually 35 to 50 per bite, which is why people that eat an entire meal in 15 minutes, they're not digesting their food well and they're not pulling the nutrients out of it. Okay. So when you eat, pick up your fork, take a bite, put the fork back down, finish chewing before you pick up your fork again. That's the easiest way. You don't have to count. You have to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? You don't have to count every bite, every chew. But if you put your fork down and just let it rest until you're done chewing, you'll naturally chew your food much, much longer. And you get more nutrients out of it. You'll have better digestion. And your food will process through your body much easier. Okay. So we're getting done, right? So I want to just be able to wrap up. How many of you guys have found this valuable today? Awesome. I would love for you to put in the chat box, what's one takeaway? What's one thing you're going to start doing today that's different than when you walked in? What's one new thing you're going to implement? I know, Colleen, 30 to 50 is crazy. Just chew, 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 chew. Right? Chew more. Chewing 50 to 35 to 50 times. First cold pressed olive oil. Awesome. Right? It's not all or nothing. It's all of the little things that you can do to enhance the quality of your life, the quality of your health on a daily basis, right? It's not overhauling everything in one day. It really is just the baby steps. Drink cold water when I have my glass of coffee, or drink water when I have drink water when I have my glass of coffee. And watching for your nose to run are the burps. Awesome. All great tips, right? It's the little things. For me, my first step was to drink water first thing in the morning and have a green smoothie. And in a week, I went from drinking half a pot of coffee to none. And I had better energy throughout the entire day than I had the entire time when I was drinking a half pot of coffee and then Diet Dew in the afternoon. Okay. So it's the little baby steps, right? It's the little things that we can do that really enhance the quality of our life and our health. Okay. So how many of you guys are ready to run with this information and start to increase your health? Awesome. 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 So I have, for you guys, I have opened up 4 spots on my calendar for a barrier breakthrough call. Okay. This is a session where you and I sit down one-on-one, where we can be able to go through where you're at now, what your goals are, and then what are the barriers that are holding you back, right? For somebody that wants to lose weight, there's a dozen different reasons why your body is holding on to weight and is fighting you on it. Some of those are emotional. Some of those are inflammation. Some of those are different hormonal imbalances, right? Some of those may be calories, but honestly, in the last 20 years, it's the least common that I have found, okay? No matter where we are, we always have room to grow. Absolutely. Absolutely, Lisa. Lisa, I like that. So this session is really designed so that we can dig into it and create that breakthrough for you, right? Because I know so many people walk around not feeling amazing, right? I know that feeling because I was in there in my 20s, like, oh, I'm getting up, I'm getting ready, I'm drinking coffee, and I'm getting through the day, and I'm slugging along. And it wasn't bad, but it wasn't anywhere near where I'm at today. So when my mom went through that, and I got my certification in nutrition, I went on a mission to make sure that no person had to put a parent in a nursing home at 49 years old like I did with my mom. Like that is. Ugh. So this is only what I do, but I'm passionate about this because I truly want to make sure that you have access to your best quality health and you get to thrive on a daily basis. So if this is you and you want to, you're struggling with losing weight, or you want to be able to increase your energy, or you are really ready for that next step in your health and you want to get to a place where you're thriving, then what I want you to do is put in the chat box, I'm in, with your email address. I only have 4 slots available over the course of the next 10 days, but I want to make sure that I can be able to get you guys in there so we can be able to break through that barrier, right? It is June. We've got the next 6 months to the end of the year. Let's make 2022 be the most amazing, healthy, and energized life that you can be able to have. But let's start making it happen today. Okay, so just put your name and put I'm in and your email address in the chat box. And then you can also go to www.talkwithjenbeck.com. That's where you'll go to be able to, there's a little questionnaire, and that'll give you a link to my calendar. So for the first 4 of you that are ready, go ahead and do that now. I'm so glad you guys were here today. I appreciate the energy and the engagement. It makes my job a lot more fun. And I'm so excited for you guys.
Thank you, Jen. Wow, you guys, was that like a wealth of knowledge or what? My husband's in trouble. I'm changing his diet like completely. Yeah, I guess I need to slow down. Like I inhale my food. So today I'm going to start chewing more. That's for sure. So thank you, Jen, so much for this information. For all of you, just so that you know, next Tuesday, we have no Teaching Tuesday. I have a private training with my clients in person that I do 4 times a year. It will fall on next Tuesday. So no Teaching Tuesday next week. The following Tuesday is the 29th. Can you believe it already? On the 29th, Dr. Melissa Balazan is going to be teaching us, and she's going to be teaching us all about the vital piece, stress in your health. So what Jen just talked about, our food that we're eating, the nutrients we're putting in. Now we're going to be talking about stress and how that weighs on your body and affects your health as well. So I love that we have 2 back-to-back. So reminder, no Teaching Tuesday next week, but we do have a Teaching Tuesday the following Tuesday with Dr. Melissa Balazan. So Jen, thank you so much today for this. Thank you for teaching us so much about what we need. And I'm going to encourage every single one of you to have that free call with Jen. That's what I love about free calls. She can give you advice just on maybe something that you're doing wrong in your diet today that she can modify for you. I always take advantage of free calls because that's how I change my health. That's how I change the things that I've been doing in my life. And that's how I've been able to become successful, is taking advantage of all those free opportunities. So Jen, thanks again for today. Ladies, thanks for joining us. Have a wonderful week, and we will see you on the 29th. Goodbye now. Take care, ladies. Have a great week. Jen, don't forget to save the chat.
Okay, thanks.
So you've got it. You got it, lady.